All right, guys, it is time for Indie News. We're just going to kick on our radio program and record the news. Welcome, YouTube audience, and we're going to welcome in now Geek Radio America's audience. Hey, everybody, we're going to be talking about Indie News now. That's right, it's time to go over what's going on in the indie comics environment. We have from Martha Schwartz some bad news. Her husband, Arnold, is in bad shape. He might need some surgery. It's a bad time for Martha and Arnold. Of course, in America, if you are someone who gets sick, it doesn't matter if you're a creator. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're not rich and you get sick, you're going to go poor. And if you're rich, well, welcome to the club because you're going to go poor too. It's a horrible thing in America. I'm not being political. I'm being honest. Getting sick in America is a tragedy for financial stability. I know it from being crippled at work, and it's just the truth. So anytime I see one of these, not only do I get supremely upset, and I wish, I'll tell you this, if I ever win the lottery, I'm going to put aside like $500,000. And every time I see something like this, when Martha's just asking for $2,000, I'll put that $2,000 in, and sure, maybe that $500,000 won't last more than a decade, but at least it'll give people hope, man. I remember being dirt poor. I remember having no money, not knowing they I don't share this very often, but they actually repossessed my car when I could barely walk because I didn't have enough money to pay the car note because workman's comp was withholding my payment for no reason. And we actually had to fight with the court to try to reinstill that money. And they gave me only at the time what had been prearranged by the court, because they only give you a part of it when you're fighting workman's comp, even though I just had it raised. And that's just on workman's comp. When you're dealing with health issues, you're out of work. I can't stress to you enough. As someone who's gone through it, I'm having an actual anxiety attack thinking about it right now. And I'm feeling like I can't breathe. That's how upsetting it is to even see this, and I instantly wish I could erase this and make it okay, and I can't. But here's what I can do. I can tell you guys that right now, here's a really great person who needs your help, and it's just that simple. Martha's one of the nicest people on the planet. Arnold's a great guy. She's, of course, behind Seed Seekers. It would be super awesome to me. For me, it would be an honest favor to me. One that I would be willing to pay back if you guys could just even give $5. That'd be awesome. I'm going to be donating as soon as I get some money myself. It's the middle of the month, so us on Social Security struggle sometimes with being able to get our money because we only get paid once a month, so it sucks. But yeah, I really, really, really want to do something great for them. And I know how it is to be crippled, and I know how it is to not be able to do everything with your family. I'm only sharing this because we're talking about it right now. I have spent the entire year so far, and granted, we're only 15 days in, but I've spent all 15 days in immense pain. I've had a back problem. And this isn't normal for my life. I've had to limit what I've done. I haven't been myself, from what a couple people have said. I've been a lot quieter than I normally am. This affects your life. So if you can help out, even a share matters right now. Please, please. This will be on our site by end of day. Guaranteed. It'll be out there for you to do. Please help Arnold and Martha. Please, please, please. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about news. Here we go. We're going to start off on the crowdfunding and Comic-Con appearances. On my page now on AnderSiN Rob on Facebook, you guys can find me very easily. I'm the only AnderSiN Rob. I reversed my name because someone decided to start using AnderSiN. Now, look, there are really people named AnderSiN, S-I-N, not O-N or E-N. I found out. I didn't even know that when I picked up the name. I did it for reasons that had to do with the written sins and all that good stuff, and maybe one day I'll share why later in my career. But for now, we'll leave it at that. But you find me at AnderSiN Rob, and just look for when I do crowdfunding and Comic-Con appearances when we find out Jonathan Hedrick will be at Space Coast Con. And we'll talk more about, of course, forecast in a minute. Sean Fournier is going to be at C2E2. Martin Piero is going to be at Nerd Night. South Florida Science Center Aquarium is going to be hosted, and then he's going to join us on Saturday and Sunday for Central Florida Comic Con, and we're going to add him in. So later when we do the forecast, remember, he's part of it, and we'll just shout it out. Even, I mean, for you guys watching on YouTube, you're going to see the mistake, but the radio won't. So don't tell Geek Radio America we didn't show that because we didn't have it ready for the program. It'll be our little secret YouTube. Geek Radio America audience will never find out. Larry Patrick Higgins is about to go live tomorrow with his Niobe book. Madeline Holly Rising is going to be having a Kickstarter for the next installment of the Boston Metaphysical Society Ghosts and Demons. And they're going to have a coloring book. How cool is that? We got something about the Niagara Falls Comic Con from Marky Comics and John Eppel. I got to ask him this weekend because, again, he's going to be at Central Florida Comic Con with me and the guys who you're going to find out about during that segment. Don't rush me. We'll get there. Damn it. All right. So Julio A. Guerrero. Besides, the forecast has to be done by Thursday, not Wednesday. You just get a preview because of the radio. Thank Geek Radio America that's even on this show. Stop stressing me out. All right. Kidding around aside, guys. Let's go over to the Indie Advocates Network, which we have recently supercharged. That's right. So here it is, announcements. We've added a Help Wanted section. There's someone who wants to join our group, which is always good news. And of course, we're going to let them in, but you guys don't get to see that part in case they gave us some information. So instead, we're going to be talking about the fact that the Help Wanted thread, if you look in the comments, now we're deleting any comments that are off topic. And by off topic, not posted by me, unless I let them do it. In here, you'll find a link to Greaticon, your way to hold cons accountable and celebrate good shows by rating them all the cons throughout 2020. And of course, this year, thanks to San Diego Comic-Con recently winning the word Comic-Con as a trademark or copyright, whatever the courts told them they have, which is just a travesty of justice. We're going to be calling the Comic-Con Highway from this point the Comic-Vention Highway. We're going to walk away from Comic-Con. We'll use the term con. We'll use the word comic, but we won't put them together because we don't want to get sued by San Diego Comic-Con because they think they invented something they don't. History tells that lesson, and yes, it is something that I get mad about. You can hear it in my voice on the radio. If you saw my face, you'd see I'm turning red because it makes me mad that a big company is bullying the little guys. And I know the story says that the other side kind of pissed them off, but that'd be like America attacking, Massachusetts as all 49 states against one state, and that's not cool. Don't gang up on people, man. I don't like bullies, and San Diego Comic-Con, in that regard, makes me feel like they're a bully. But we're going to move on. I digress. And of course, the Independent Creator Awards, where you vote, is there. Our page where nominations were happening, we're not as much promoting, and that probably will go away. Although we will try to keep the conversation going throughout the 2020 year, asking people for feedback to improve the awards. So when we get to the end of 2020, people know what to expect. Because I think a lot of people were taken back by how much there was to learn. Of course, there's the weekly forecast and the crowdfunding report. And now we have a Help Wanted section where you guys can find the editors, the ancillary departments. Of course, that's all the things that aren't covered under artists and writers and letterers, all those great people who come together to make comic books all now have different sections on this group, which will make sure to weed out the comics every 90 days. And we're going to be right back at the radio. And now this. All right, we're just going to jump right back into it on the radio. All right, so you guys have been gone a while on the radio, but we've kept going. And what we were talking about is the fact that there's this Help Wanted section in our group now. How awesome is that? So that gives us the ability to actually allow people to connect with each other. So what you do is you go to our group. On the top, we now have, they don't call it pinning anymore. Now it's announcements. How grandeur that is. It's no longer just pinning a post. It's announcing the post. So, and that's cool because whatever, we'll pin it and announce it. I don't care. But now you can come here, and if you're looking for an editor, click that link. If you're looking for someone in ancillary, and we're talking about this just a few minutes ago, that ancillary is like colorists. We didn't want to make a whole post for colorists. We might honestly do it if I notice that enough people put it out there. We did ancillary because at first this was all on our site. We have changed and upgraded it to the site. We'll get to that in a minute, and you'll see what I mean. because the site itself has gone through some changes. Of course, we're talking about indieadvocates.com. So ancillary we might break apart, but they're also part, like, you don't often hear a post for someone looking for an inker. So that's where that would go. And again, we will expand if this program winds up taking off. And we're very proud about putting this on social media, because this year has been the year of user-friendly, and we've really tried to do everything this year to make everything as easy as we can to use. We want you guys to experience the tools. Very often our articles are read on the site, but our tools are not taken advantage of, and we think that's a crying shame. So we're trying to not only make people aware of the tools, but actually begin to use them. And we've already got some great letterers who have, I believe, joined us. I know there's some artists who have been dropping some information, even some writers and editors. So if you're looking to hire someone to make a comic book, guess what? We got you covered now. And that's just one of the many services that we give you at indieadvocates.com, including covering ZapCon, which is going to be in Wayne, New Jersey, March 28th. And we're going to be talking about Christian Esperato Santio. I know I said that wrong, Christian. My bad. I did my best. And, of course, we're going to be talking more about some stuff. The one thing I will say, though, is that political posts will be removed from our group, so don't do that. But drop your links to everything in the Indie Advocates group on Facebook, and we're using more Facebook this year simply because Facebook has made it impossible to interact outside of Facebook, and Facebook to this date is still the simplest way for creators to hook up, talk to each other, give each other advice, and for fans to find creators. Someone's got to go out there and invent the next Facebook. Please do it already. But for now, while we're on Facebook Live, this is the best we have, and that's just the truth. And it's the way that we get to know about Guano Guy, who we're hoping is going live sometime soon and will be on our crowdfunding report. If not, it'll definitely be next week. I keep hitting the link, keep hoping we see Guano Guy, but right now we go to the main page. So that means it's not live just yet, but look at all the stuff you can get. There are going to be back issues. There are going to be some Rebel variant covers. It's going to be awesome. And of course, this is your way to entice us with the different projects that you're working on. And then we take these things and we put them up on our site most of the time. So the basic rule of thumb is that I try to put out everything I can, but we don't try to do single posts for everything. Sometimes we use the IndieWire. So if it's basic information that we don't have something for, crowdfunding obviously goes into its own position. Where you're going on the Comic-Con Highway does. But if someone's just giving us some like basic stuff that they want to promote, but it's not enough to really entice. Like we have something like a preview from Instagram. It comes down to there's only so many hours in a day. We try to, put out what's important. So once a week, we'll probably do something called the IndieWire. We were doing that last year as a daily thing. And as a daily program, it didn't work. But as a weekly program towards the end of the year, it will work. So we are going to be bringing that back. And a lot of these changes have been made early in the year, of course, because people slow down early in the year. And we've had that extra time to get a lot done and a lot of upgrades, which we're going to head over to our site now and show you some of those upgrades. So here we go. All right, so we've changed a couple of things around. Our menus are, like I said, everything's about being user-friendly and making everything as user-friendly as we can. So the Independent Creator Awards on our main page. You could also, even on the mobile app, it shows you how to move things around. And again, we're not inducting anyone this week just because of the controversies that we've had with the awards. We didn't want to overshadow anyone in being inducted into the Hall of Fame by those, but we will have an announcement next week. We already know who it is. So stay tuned next week. Our next inductee of the Hall of Fame for Indie Comics will begin. And it's going to be the Indie Comics / Creators Hall of Fame. So it will be the Indie Indie Comics Hall of Fame, yeah. So the C will just have two different meanings. All right. So of course we have our the cons, which again we're going to use the word cons, but we're going to be switching the graphic from saying Comic-Con to Comic-Ventions, and also some of that, I'll be honest, I'll own it. Some of that's like a spitefulness to San Diego Comic-Con, because I want people to ask why we're calling it Comic-Vention so I can explain it and really make people aware about how greedy that one show has become. And let me tell you, I used to really want to be part of San Diego Comic-Con. I don't care how popular it is right now, this point, and of course this can change. And I hope it does change because I hope at one point they find out what I'm doing. I know it's a grandeur idea, but I'd love them to come see this and actually be like, wow, that really upset this guy that we took away Comic-Con. And maybe we did do something wrong. Maybe we took something that wasn't ours, and maybe we should give it back. You know, because I'm not saying anything that's not true. They acted like a bully, not just to the people they sued, but to any Comic-Con out there. Because now every Comic-Con out there has got to worry about this phantom menace coming to bother them about a word that they didn't invent, which as a writer would give them the power of creating words. I don't like when people take what's not theirs and call it their own. It goes back to my fan art issue, I think, too. But that's a topic for another day. Crowdfunding reports where it always is. But now we have Indie Resources. And Indie Resources, you can find out how to bring comic books to your classroom. And of course, I've got to fix it. It says throwback thread. If you ever see something that says throwback thread, it's usually because that thread's already been produced and we're doing another one. But because we recreated that one just for Indie Resources, I don't want to say that. Of course, the Help Wanted section is now in the Indie Resources. Greaticon is there. The Indie Volt, Comics Most Educated panel, is there. But with Facebook changing their ability for us to use videos, I don't know how we'll cover things like Brian K. Morris's Nevermind the Furthermore unless he records it on YouTube. Luckily, Indie Vault is on YouTube, so we'll just start using the YouTube, and that's why we're recording these now, because now I'm going to have to actually upload videos so people can see the different parts of our show, but it'll also break it into segments, which will be cool. And if you need a printer, you can find a great printer. I vouch for them absolutely, and it'll even go in my panel handout for 2020 as I'm redoing that. A printer you can count on. Here it is, Comic Impressions. And then we have become inspired by these feature items and become empowered and become an empowered indie/comic advocate. Because remember, advocate for all comics, not just indie this year. Indie comics, of course, need a little bit of love, but all comics need love. It's all of us together. It's time we stop having a divide and stop calling comic creators pros. They're not athletes and they're not street walkers. So let's keep the pro there, and instead, let's just say that everyone creates comics. And now this. All right, we're going to save the next segment, and I'll just keep going. Of course, to become inspired by these features, this week has Broke Down and Four Dead Bodies launching, Silverline, a look ahead. Dirk Manning also gives us a look ahead. There's that Barber Unleashed, which we'll talk about a little bit. And the release, and I'm super excited about this release. I actually have the book. I'm doing a horrible job as a human being because I haven't taken pictures of it. I swear to you, it's been a long week. I've got stuff to share with you guys. Let's just put it that way. It's a long week, and I got a show at the end of it. Remember, I've been on the road all year, people. All year. It's true, but it is only 15 days old, so grain of salt moment. But kidding around aside, Stabby Bunny, Richard Rivera blew my socks off. Amazing. Great book. I reread it. It was one of those books I went right back and reread it. And I got to read it before a lot of people. I got to see it at its infancy, right after it had been lettered. And Richard, you did a great job. My hat's off to you, my friend. And then, of course, our regular feed is below that. And on our side, you can check out Geek Radio America, 2 a.m., 10 a.m., 6 p.m. daily for my Indie Comics report, or listen to it all day for all the amazing programs that it offers. We have our previews. If you have a comic book that's been released, put it in Indie Comics previews. How awesome would that be? So when people click on this link, and they do click on it, we're going to be promoting it more this year. We will be bringing back the repetitive once a month. Every one of these things will get airtime once a month that are staples, like Victor Dandridge's You Create Comics will once a month go into your mailboxes if you subscribe to IndieAdvocates.com. And we might be getting Luke Stone because he just reached out to me, and I don't have my screen for some reason. You ever go to message someone and suddenly the ability to type goes away? I just had that. Everything's acting funny on my phone right now. All right. There we go. All right, let me see if I can get it. Yep. Come on, Irene. to the show. If you don't know what Come On Irene is, you're a Lenny. A Lenny is a millennial according to the Scallion. I don't know. I don't make the social rules. I just follow them. All right, so while we try to get our friend Luke Stone to join us, let's continue talking about it. Of course, these different creator connections, the artists and all that, the ancillary departments, they go back to the actual Facebook group because that's what we want. So we created it so people could go here. Oh, actually, these are the older ones. I'm sorry. I think that I'm in the wrong section. Oh, I updated them. That's why. We were going to go out and just remove these, but I had to update them. It's a long story. It's a background issue. I'll take care of them after. Like I said, it's been a busy week. But we're going to have our Comic-Con forecast. You guys will see more content coming from the site. We've done a lot of site upgrades in the background. I don't see our friend Luke Stone, so I'm going to start the next segment. And the next segment is the Comic-Con forecast. I'll just type and let him know we're doing the forecast, and then we'll get to him. Let's do speech to talk. Doing forecast, come on in, but don't say anything until I acknowledge you. I think that's a fair way to handle this. All right, so we'll get to the crowdfunding in just a minute. I'm just going to close this thread over here. Those two reminders are for when I go off screen to fix some stuff. All right, so here it is, the Comic-Con Highway, which I'm trying to see while we wait for Luke to join us. Let me see if it shows up. Don't know why it hasn't, but I'll show you the new one. So, because I'm going to have to probably go in and manually change everything now. And I'll show you what it looks like now. Here it is, Comicventions. This is going to be our new one. And of course, I'm just trying to... Okay, Luke said he's on his way, so we'll start without him. But we're going to replace the featured, and now it's this. So officially, we have traded off. It is now Comicvention. Comicvention. Now, the reason we didn't do COM-ventions is, well, you can say at home the COM version. I won't, because I know people will hear it and think it's on purpose, and I promise you it's not. All right, so we're ready for the forecast. We're going to sign off on our YouTube channel. I guess you guys are like, the end of the video's got such a bad ending. But listen, I'm on for 2 hours. What do you expect? All right, YouTube. Definitely check out the other segments from today's program. We've broken them up. The first part was about the awards. This was about the news, and we're about to head into the actual forecast. But for YouTube, we're not going to record the forecast. We're going to record the forecast tomorrow for you. So you'll get the official shiny version tomorrow. And that's it, guys. Seriously. Make sure to subscribe to IndieAdvocates.com. We'll talk to you soon.